WBEN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. One man is dead, another in the hospital after a shootout late last night in downtown Billings. Tonight, more details into what happened and the name of the victim. It all started about 11:45 last night in the parking lot off North 27th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue North. That parking lot between Jake's and the Burger Dive, littered with evidence tags, remained closed off most of the day as police investigated. Yellowstone County Coroner Cliff Mahoney says 22-year-old Thaddeus Merritt died at the hospital from multiple gunshot wounds. Mahoney says Merritt is originally from the Chicago area, but also has an address in Billings. An 18-year-old Billings man who's not yet been identified remains in the hospital. Police are still investigating and have not released details on a possible motive. In national news, the sentence was handed down this afternoon for Derek Chauvin, the former police officer found guilty of murdering George Floyd. In a Minneapolis courtroom, Chauvin was sentenced to more than 22 years in prison. Before hearing his fate, Chauvin heard from family members of Floyd, including Floyd's 7-year-old daughter. With good behavior, Chauvin will likely serve 2/3 of his sentence behind bars and the rest on parole. Well, the precarious work of trying to find people trapped inside a South Florida high-rise condo building that collapsed continues tonight, but rescuers admit it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. Only a handful of people are confirmed dead, but almost 160 remain unaccounted for. What's left of the building is also in danger of collapsing, putting rescuers at risk. Still not known what caused that 41-year-old building to collapse. Well, fire crews continue to make progress fighting the Robertson Draw fire in Carbon County, but many are left reeling from the damage left behind. Those flames burned nearly 30,000 acres and took with them family homes and cabins. Today, Q2's Brandon Warren got a first-hand look at some of the damage left behind.
Since its onset, the Robertson Draw fire has devastated the Beartooth Mountains and surrounding communities. Now it's time to take a look at just how bad this fire is.
So as we sit right now, the fire is just shy of 30,000 acres. There were unfortunately 10 homes, close to 10 homes that were burned up, 30 structures total. We're at 53% contained. We have dozer lining around a good portion of it, and we're prepping the other divisions, doing structure protection.
Feldman says he feels good about the state of the fire and is working hard to continue building and fortifying containment lines.
Our team times out. We transition Tuesday. We'll have another team in place. They're going to shadow us for a day, and then we're going to hand it off to them and hand them off a good package to where we have a good structure protection plan in place and good line.
The replacement team will also be Type 2, but the number of crew members is unknown. Feldman also wants to remind landowners about the importance of prepping your yard for fire season.
Being fire-wise and prepping your property, the brush and fuel breaks around your property is a great idea. It looks like we're going to have a hot season.
Based on observation, yard prep seemed to keep some homeowners safe, as flames came within a few hundred feet of their property, but homes looked untouched. In Belfry, Brandon Warren, MTN News.
All evacuation warnings, fire bans, and Custer-Gallatin National Forest closures remain in effect. Recent conditions eerily similar to 33 years ago when the first fires at Yellowstone National Park broke out. Q2's Shaquille Cozart spoke with a former Q2 News staff member who spearheaded coverage for the community and is now helping to battle the state's wildfires.
Today marks the anniversary of the Yellowstone Park fires of 1988 that affected roughly 1 million acres of the area. And while many people may have stories of what they heard and even saw that day, we hear from one person who had a big part in bringing that news to the community.
I'm Al Nash with this special report on the fires which have plagued the northeast corner of Yellowstone.
Former Q2 News Director Al Nash said the fires of 1988 were unlike any other fires reported on years prior and was the biggest of those fires in the West since 1910.
1988 was a watershed year for wildland fire, not just for Yellowstone National Park, but for all of the land management agencies.
According to the National Park Service, the fires started in mid-June of 1988 of natural causes. Park managers and fire behavioral specialists allowed the 18 lightning-caused blazes to burn until July 15th, when it was announced that no new naturally caused fires would be allowed to burn due to the unexpected dry spell in July.
We were all impacted for several weeks by the Yellowstone fire. It impacted the economy, it impacted the air quality, and you didn't have to be right next to the park to notice what was happening.
Nash said that getting coverage of the blaze to the community had its challenges. He said that after a few weeks of the initial start of the blaze, when Yellowstone started to really suppress the fire, was when coverage of the events in the newsroom started to ramp up.
We had at least a news crew in Yellowstone almost every day for weeks. We rented motel rooms in Red Lodge to have people sleep there and to edit tape and bring them back and forth from Billings. For a while, we were chartering private aircraft to bring tape out of West Yellowstone until that option was closed off.
Nash said that this was an incredibly important and once-in-a-lifetime story for the Q2 News team, who helped bring information to the community about the 1988 Yellowstone fires. Reporting in Billings, I'm Shaquille Kozart with MTN News.
Those fires burned until the middle of September when snow started to fall. All right, turning to Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh. We've had a lot of hot weather already and another stretch of hot weather coming up. Is that an indicator that our weather is getting warmer?
Well, overall, let's take a look at the numbers here and start off by taking a look at our average temperatures. Over the course of the last 50 years, we're going to take Billings as the example. Only 1.7 degrees warmer over the course of the 50 years. It's still warmer, but compared to many areas on the globe, it really isn't all that substantial of a warm-up. Where we're seeing the difference is in the second graphic that shows you where we've had record cold temperatures in the purple shades, and then the redder shaded areas where we're seeing record highs. You can notice that over the last 40 years, we've had way more record highs than we have cold weather. So the average temperatures look like they stay pretty close to the same, but the overall trend is when we have extreme weather, it's going to lean more towards hot temperatures and less towards cold temperatures. Back with the forecast in just a little bit.
All right, thank you, Ed. We hope you will join us at Symphony in the Park this Sunday. Pioneer Park will once again be filled with music as the Billings Symphony takes the stage. In tonight's Positively Montana, we meet one member of the organization who's not a musician with the symphony, but has helped bring music to a lot of people over the years.
Music is capable of moving us in many different ways. Just ask Candy Holzer.
I think just seeing the children's eyes when they try an instrument, that's the first thing that I'm so impressed by. They make one note out of a trumpet and they're so excited.
After 27 years as a school teacher, Candy found a new career as the Education Outreach Director for the Billings Symphony, starting up programs to take music into schools, hospitals, and nursing homes, and working with diverse populations like dementia patients.
But they would come out, and they'd begrudgingly come out and sit in their chair, and then I'd give them a drum, and they would start playing it right away. And then we always had a couple of musicians to play some background music for them, and then they would get started with the beat. And it was great, especially when they got up to dance.
Helping spread the magic of music has been one of the most rewarding parts of the job, she says, traveling to other communities away from Billings and also into some places that you might not expect.
My main baby is I developed a guitar program at the women's prison, and over the last 7 years we've been teaching the ladies guitar lessons. We've had women leave and teach guitar. We've had women leave and play guitar at their church. We've had women who are interested in composers because of the guitar class, and they drew pictures. In fact, I brought some of them today. She did it out of mascara. Wow. And something else. It's just bringing the joy of music to enrich their lives. We hope that when they leave the prison, they'll continue. And I just remember going past the prison on my way into work, and I always thought, I wish I could serve those ladies in some way, because all of us are a little distance from going to prison sometime in their life. And
after 16 years of serving others with the symphony, Candy is retiring from full-time work. She was diagnosed with a serious form of cancer and given 4 months to live, but that was 2 years ago, and she's still hanging in there and still believing in the power of music.
I'll miss everything. I'll miss the musicians. I'm going to cry. I'll miss the staff. I'll just miss everything. It's the best job anybody could ever have. It's just been totally enjoyable for me.
Symphony in the Park gets underway at 4 Sunday afternoon with the instrument petting zoo. The Stillwater Strings take the stage at 5. And the Billings Symphony featuring John Roberts, Ipan Blanco will perform at 7 o'clock. Hope to see you there. Well, it sounds like a movie title, 50 Dates in 50 States, but actually it was one Huntley Project man's quest to find love. That final date recently wrapped up in Bozeman. MTN's Ashley Washburn caught up with him.
Like all of us at the beginning of the pandemic, Montana native Matthew Warnick was trying to figure out what to do with all this extra time. That's when the idea of 50 Dates in 50 States was born, which all started out virtually, but then he made it his mission to take them out in person and just finished his 50th date right here in the Treasure State.
My date and I had a rock skipping competition.
I had that plan from the very beginning. Most people were like, are you going to finish in Hawaii? Because Hawaii's like paradise, you know? And I'm like, you know what? Montana's paradise. Montana is home state. I think it'd just be cool to see me come back home, wrap around there, and make it the 50th state.
The journey back home took more than 5.5 months, tacking on more than 30,000 miles in his personalized 50 Dates, 50 States pickup. He documented every single date on TikTok, building a following of more than 300,000 people and 10 million likes.
That's been one of the coolest things about this whole journey is seeing fans throughout the whole U.S. When I'm driving, people will be honking or they'll film or they'll take pictures, which is really cool because at the end of the day, the core reason I started this whole journey is because I just like to make people smile.
Montana State grad Cece Paharic was the lucky lady for date number 50, and to celebrate the big finale, the two of them had quite the day in Big Sky Country.
We decided to go zip lining. We went horseback riding, which I got bucked off. I literally fell for her. We came here to this brewery, and then we're gonna have a nice photography session later.
It felt really special. You gotta save the best for last. We had a really good time.
And as fun as it was to go on 50 dates with 50 different women, he says the real prize were the lessons learned along the way.
I think the two biggest things I've learned on this journey is one, that the smallest idea can blossom into something amazing and spectacular. And the other thing I've learned through traveling throughout the whole U.S. is that we're all really not so different. It's really cool just to see that common ground between the whole U.S.
Now, Matthew doesn't know what's next for 50 Dates in 50 States, but he's just going to take these next couple months, enjoy them at home, and then head back to the drawing board. Reporting in Bozeman, Ashley Washburn, MTN News.
All right, still to come on the MTN 10 o'clock news here on Q2. Hop on the bus, but this time with a twist, we'll look into a new form of transportation that could be heading to Livingston. And in sports, Scott's hitting golf balls this weekend, but its meaning goes well beyond the scorecard. He explains coming up.
From Montana's news